how to run your business when it feels like the world has gone mad. Hello, my name is Anna Lagrange, and I'm one half of Baba Business, the Birth and Baby Business Academy.
And hello, my name is Liz Stamford, and I am the other half of Baba Business. And yeah, this title it's broad, isn't it? Because it
Yeah.
feels like the world has been in this decline into madness, since the pandemic, really, doesn't it? It feels like
Yeah.
we've been into uncertainty and I don't know, just crazy, crazy political stuff going on. And we'd be silly to think that the political landscape or like what's going on economically, financially, socially doesn't
Yeah.
impact our businesses, because it does, because it impacts how we feel, it impacts how we show up. And that's really what we want to talk about
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, definitely. I think for us in the birth world, it actually impacts us a lot because we basically, we do say, if you work in the birth world, you are an activist because you sort of have to be, because a lot of what we do um, is around advocacy and helping people find their voice and helping them find the best experience for them. That's not to say that, like, for example, everybody should be, giving a birth in a field of daisies, and anything, apart from that is, not a good birth. We don't agree with that whatsoever. But what we do know is that in our world, birth, breastfeeding, parenting, is that there's funding cuts in many
Yeah,
countries in the world, not just in the UK. And there's a lot of political decisions being made that negatively impact those of us, in the world that we are. It impacts our hospitals, it impacts our birth centres, it impacts our midwives, it
impact,
impacts even just thinking about, sorry?
it impacts autonomy of
It
the
really
woman.
does. Having a voice, being able to
Yeah,
speak up. Budget cuts have an impact. The cost of living costs have an impact. I think as well that when I was speaking, I really thought about Anna Whitehouse and her flexible working campaign
yeah.
that she's worked so hard on, and she's brought so many,
Mm,
and also Pregnant Then Screwed, that another organisation, they've brought so many changes and done so much lobbying in government, and the sort of reform, for example, that's one of the things they want to kind of get rid of is flexible working. So obviously, I think even on that level, that impacts us as women
yeah,
particularly, but it really impacts people who are coming into the world of being a parent, and so and obviously things like cuts to benefits, and it's just it's huge. And so I think for us at this, supporting people in this place
yeah.
in their lives, we cannot help but be part of that, the political discussion and discussion around social justice and what's going on in the world. Like, that is just, it's kind of part of the job, whether we like it or not. In a way.
Yeah, absolutely. But what it can do is create uncertainty and make us kind of want to hide away a little bit,
Mm,
rather than express our authentic views on, what is happening in the world. Or not even that, like, you don't have to express your views on what's happening in the world publicly, but we do need to stand up and talk about what affects our businesses and what affects the people that we work with, or that we're aspiring to work with, because then that's how they know that we're on the same level as them, that we care for them, that we want to support them, that we can help them. So that's where sometimes it can feel a little bit scary in this sort of
mm.
landscape that we're in at the moment. But how do we do that? Like, how do we navigate that in such a way that we can feel safe ourselves, and feel comfortable doing so?
Yeah, because on the one hand, we all know that on the internet, everything's so divisive. You
Yeah,
can say something which seems like very obvious, but for somebody it's controversial or whatever. So it can make us, like you said, not want to stand up and talk about what's important to us. But at the same
yeah.
time, we need to, because people need to know that we're their person. So I think what this is making me think of, it's really important to know what your values are and be
Mm,
clear on your values, and be, and so that you're, you know, when we stand in our values, it helps us to communicate and be
Mhm.
ourselves and be more visible. So I think just reviewing that and reminding yourself of why you came into this work in the first place. You know, what is it that
Yeah.
you what are your beliefs? What is it that's most important to you? Because what's most important to you as a business owner may not be what's most important to me. You know what I mean? We may have different reasons that we do this work, and we may have different, you know, different ways we want our clients to feel, all that kind of stuff. So get clear on that, I think, firstly. But, you know, most importantly, don't forget how important visibility is. Visibility is crucial to to your company and to offering your services out. If people don't see you and hear what you're offering, they're not going to book with you because they don't know you're there. So you have to come up with a plan to be visible.
Yeah.
Um, and that can be tricky, especially in this, you know, in this climate where it feels like anything can be controversial or can be deemed controversial. It
Yeah.
can be really challenging. And you know, support and finding your people, I think, is crucial to this, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. That was something that was coming into my mind then, was that the something that does make you feel safe is being with like-minded people in, you know, in whatever way that is for you. Like, it could be a community like Baba, or it could be that you've got some biz besties that you hook up with in a WhatsApp group, or, you know, whatever. It could be like a local business networking group that you have, that you attend. Like, those are the kind of places that can help bolster your confidence and help you to navigate those really tricky feelings. But not just that, it's also like getting to the root of it as well. You know, so we always say the missing piece to your business is you,
Yeah.
and it's the mindset part of things, which often people neglect. So they often think, oh, if I just do all the things, if I try all the strategies, if I just push, hustle, then I'll get there. And, you know, there is an element of having to actually do the work, and there is a bit of hustle at
Yes.
the beginning of your business. But if you're neglecting the mindset side of stuff, then you're probably not doing the things that you need to do, because the things that you need to do are usually the things that you fear the most. So doing things like journaling, for instance, can really help you get to the bottom of, like, you know, why aren't I showing up? Why aren't I
Yeah.
being visible? Why aren't I telling people like what I really care about when it comes to the work I do? Why aren't I telling them, you know, how my work can help them, how my services can support them through whatever it is that they're going through? And
Yeah.
if you're not doing that, like you said, Anna, you know, they're not going to know that you exist, and they're not going to know that you can help them. So doing things like journaling, and affirmations, something somatic like EFT, or like power poses, or just making sure you get out for a walk in nature every day, can really help you to progress through those feelings and emotions.
Yeah. I think with the title, we're thinking about the feeling like the world's going mad. I think with a lot of this stuff where we feel uncertain, like the world feels uncertain, the world, like in Britain, we have had, like for my whole lifetime, I don't know how far back this goes back, but two-party politics is all I've ever known. Do you know what I mean? Like that's all there's been two main
Yeah.
parties politically, and that's all I've ever known, and that's how it is. And not saying that that's how I voted in any by any means, but that's just this sort of the world that we were used to, and suddenly like it's shifting away from that, and like the future seems different and unknown, and that for some people that might feel like a great thing, and for others that might feel really scary. And I think what we have to bear in mind with all these changes and not knowing what's going on, actually even thinking about something like AI, we were talking about this in a previous episode recently, where, you know, we're talking about that feels like such a massive shift where we're suddenly like, how can we know something's real? How can we trust somebody? How do we know, you know, how can we believe in this when there's so much AI and sort of fakeness around? So you know, with thinking about that is, tuning into what Liz just said, often our nervous system is really dysregulated. And so that fear, that uncertainty, that way we can sometimes feel a little bit like ungrounded, is something that we actually can really control, and we can really use those techniques and exercises to help ground ourselves back in, and
Mhm.
calm our nervous system down, bring us out of that fight flight just really. And so I think grounding is so useful
Mm.
for those moments when we feel like everything's going mad around us. Just taking a moment to remind myself, even just to say to yourself, I am safe. I'm safe
Yeah.
right now. I'm wherever I am. I'm in my car, I'm in my house. My body may not feel safe because I don't really know what's coming next,
Yeah.
on the news, but actually, right now I'm okay. And we can do somatic exercises like grounding, like putting our feet on the ground, going out for a walk on the grass, taking ourselves out of our overthinking minds, because this stuff, it sends your mind loopy. It actually, like, your
Mm.
brain can be like, I'm trying to make sense of this. This is not
Yeah.
something I've experienced before. It feels like everything is so different, so new. Predictability of life has gone out the window. And our body is our nervous system is like, you're not feeling safe right now, so I'm going to start putting in those emergency measures to,
Mhm.
like those fight flight physiological things. So it's really important that we bring those exercises daily into our lives, so we can bring ourselves, like, ground ourselves, feel safe, let our body know that it's safe. And it doesn't take much time. You only need to do them. You only need to spend 5 minutes a day, or even a couple of times a day, doing those exercises, and you'll start to feel a lot better. And then when you're feeling better in yourself and more connected and more, less like, oh my gosh, everything's going crazy around me, that groundedness, it sort of helps you to feel more sure about who you are. And what we also know is when we're in the ventral vagal system of our autonomic nervous system rather than fight flight, that we are able to communicate better. We're able to
Mhm.
tune in more to our intuition, we're able to tune into who we are, and we're able to communicate. We're able to speak better, we're able to really tell people what we're feeling. We feel more connected to other human beings, and that's not just going to be
Mhm.
people in our family, there's also going to be our clients and our potential clients as well. So I can't tell you, especially when the world feels like this right now, how important those exercises are. And it does have to start with you. So yeah, if that is how you're feeling, then
I
definitely start bringing in those practices.
Definitely, definitely. And I think as well, something that's really important is that we don't need everyone to like us or agree with us or have the same values or the same opinions as us. And that's okay. Like, I think it took me a long time to feel okay with that. Bit of people
Yeah.
pleasing going on, bit of perfectionism there. Don't a conflict avoider, all of those sorts of things. But like you saying, as long as you've got that sense of safety in your body, it feels easier to express who you are and communicate your thoughts and feelings around things. And then when people don't agree with you, because you're feeling grounded and because you're feeling safe, you can process that much, much easier as well. And like I said, it is okay to not be for everybody. In fact, you kind of want to repel people as well.
Mm.
That can sound really weird, especially in our industry where we are all really empathetic and caring and want everyone to, like us. But it is okay for people not to connect with us and not to agree with us, and we've got to be okay with that as well.
Yeah, a lovely measure for that for me, when I realised that I didn't feel like that anymore, was when I started celebrating unsubscribes from my
Yeah,
email list. People unsubscribe, and I'm like, now I see it's a really positive thing. So I'm like,
yeah,
great, my list is more and more my ideal client than it was yesterday. I
yeah,
really love that. But yeah, bringing it back to community
yeah.
is, I think, so important. It's particularly hard, even harder, I think, right now, to do this on your own. You need people to be able to talk to when things go a bit haywire, or if you do have a conversation that's a bit upsetting, or if someone doesn't agree with you, or if you've had a post that's not gone down very well. You
Mm,
need people there to kind of, like, talk you through it and listen to what's going on. I think as well, and I'm not talking about just living in an echo chamber. I'm not saying that, you should only hang out with people who agree with you or anything like that. But I think it's useful to have a group of people who understand why birth is so important, why infant feeding is so important, why those early years, and why parenting and all of that stuff is so important. And That's one of the reasons why we created the Baba community. The academy was because we wanted people to be able to come and hang out with other people who get it, because marketing in our world is different.
Mm,
Working in the birth world is different to other industries. It's not like
yeah.
working in sports or education. Even, it's a different kind of thing. The ethics, the stuff that we have to navigate, and the amount of stuff that's going on in the world that impacts, as I've already said at the beginning, our area of business, it's quite different. So that's why it's really good to have a community of people like in our membership, where people are like, yeah, I really get that, I'm feeling that, or this is
Mm,
my experience, or that place where you can come to and talk about what's going on for you, and also just share ideas and talk about how you could be visible, how could you market your business differently, and so many
yeah,
things you can use a membership
totally.
for.
Definitely, and we would love to see you in there. You can
We
join anytime. It's £25 a month, or £250 for the year, and you get a couple of months free if you pay that way. And you also get a free ticket to Baba Live as well if you pay that way.
Yes.
So yeah, check it out in the show notes, and why not give it a try?
Yeah, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.